Have you ever had one of those days where absolutely nothing goes right and then someone says one kind sentence to you and suddenly the whole day feels different? That happened to me yesterday and it got me thinking about something really powerful.
Oh, I love where this is going already. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Joobira Zone. Today, we're talking about gratitude. And trust me, this episode might actually change how you see your day.
Exactly, Maya. So here's what happened. I was stuck in traffic, I spilled coffee on my shirt, and I was already in a terrible mood. Then my neighbor stopped me and said, "Hey, I noticed you helped me carry my groceries last week. I really appreciated that." And just like that, my whole mood shifted.
Wow, that's such a small thing, but it clearly had a big impact on you. It's funny how gratitude works that way, isn't it? A tiny moment of appreciation can completely change someone's emotional state.
Right? And that's basically what we want to explore today. How do we stay grateful every single day, even when life gets messy? And more importantly, how do we talk about gratitude in English in a natural way?
I think that's the perfect question to start with. So, Thomas, let me ask you this. What does the word grateful actually mean to you, in your own words?
That's a great question. To me, being grateful means noticing the good things in your life, even the small ones, and really appreciating them instead of taking them for granted.
Taking something for granted. That's such a useful phrase for our listeners today. It means you don't appreciate something because you're used to having it, like clean water, or your health, or even your phone battery lasting all day.
That last one is very relatable. We definitely take a full battery for granted until it's at 2% and we're panicking.
Exactly. Okay, so here's a question for our listeners to think about while they listen. What is one thing you usually take for granted, but you'd really miss if it disappeared?
That's a great one to reflect on. Now, Maya, I know you've been trying to build a daily gratitude habit. Can you tell everyone what that actually looks like for you?
Sure. Every morning before I even check my phone, I try to think of three things I'm thankful for. It could be something big, like my family, or something small, like the smell of coffee.
I like that you mix big and small things. Do you think it's more powerful to focus on big things like family and health, or small everyday things?
Honestly, I think the small things matter more for daily happiness. Big things like family are important, of course, but we often already know we're grateful for them. It's the small stuff, like a sunny morning or a good cup of tea, that reminds us to slow down.
That makes a lot of sense. There's actually a phrase for that. Count your blessings. It means to think about the good things in your life instead of focusing on what's missing.
I love that expression. Count your blessings is such a classic phrase, and it's really useful for our B1 to B2 learners today. Can you use it in a sentence, Thomas?
Sure. Whenever I feel stressed about work, I try to count my blessings instead of complaining.
Perfect example. Now, here's a fun fact for everyone listening. Did you know that scientists have actually studied gratitude and found that people who practice it regularly tend to sleep better, feel less stressed, and even have stronger relationships?
Really? That's fascinating. So gratitude isn't just a nice feeling, it actually has real benefits for your mental and physical health.
Exactly. There was one study where participants wrote in a gratitude journal for just a few minutes every night, and after several weeks, they reported feeling significantly happier than before.
That's incredible. Speaking of journals, have you ever kept a gratitude journal yourself, Maya?
I have, actually. I started one last year, and at first, it felt a little forced, if I'm honest. But after a couple of weeks, it became something I really looked forward to.
That's interesting that you say it felt forced at first. I think a lot of people feel that way when they start something new like this. What helped you stick with it?
I think what helped was keeping it really simple. I didn't try to write long paragraphs. I just wrote three short things every night, even as simple as, I had a good conversation with a friend today.
That's a great tip for our listeners. Keep it simple and don't overthink it. Now, here's a useful phrase related to that. Count your blessings, we already mentioned, but there's also look on the bright side. Maya, can you explain that one?
Of course, look on the bright side means to try to find something positive in a difficult situation, instead of only focusing on the negative parts.
Can you give us an example?
Sure, I missed my flight, but I tried to look on the bright side. At least I got extra time to relax at the airport and read my book.
That's such a great mindset to have. I think a lot of people struggle with this because when something bad happens, it's hard to think positively right away.
Totally agree. It's not about pretending everything is perfect, it's more about training your brain to notice the good things too, not just the bad ones.
That's a really important distinction. Gratitude isn't about ignoring problems, it's about balance. Speaking of balance, let's talk about how gratitude can help during hard times, not just good ones.
Yes, this is actually where gratitude becomes really powerful. Can you share a moment when gratitude helped you through something difficult, Thomas?
Definitely. A few years ago, I went through a really tough period when I lost my job unexpectedly. It was scary, and honestly, I felt pretty lost for a while.
That sounds really stressful. How did gratitude play a role in helping you get through it?
Well, instead of only focusing on what I lost, I started reminding myself of what I still had: supportive friends, good health, and free time to figure out my next steps. It didn't fix the situation immediately, but it definitely helped me stay calm and hopeful.
That's such a powerful example. It shows that gratitude isn't just for happy moments, it can actually be a tool to help you cope with challenges.
Exactly. And there's a phrase for that too: silver lining. It means finding something positive even in a bad situation.
I love that phrase. Can you use it in a sentence for our listeners?
Sure, losing my job was hard, but the silver lining was that it pushed me to start my own business.
That's a perfect example. Okay, I have a question for you, Thomas. Do you think gratitude is something people are naturally good at, or is it a skill you have to practice?
That's such a good question. Honestly, I think it's mostly a skill. Some people might be naturally more optimistic, but I really believe gratitude is something you build through practice, just like a habit.
I completely agree. And that leads us to a really important question for our listeners. What's one small habit you could start today to practice gratitude?
Great question. For anyone listening, it could be as simple as saying thank you more often, writing down 3 good things before bed, or even just pausing for 10 seconds to appreciate a nice moment during your day.
Those are such practical tips. I also think saying thank you to people directly is underrated. Sometimes we feel grateful, but we don't actually express it out loud.
That's so true. There's a phrase for that too: express gratitude. It means to show or say that you're thankful for something.
Right, and here's an example. She wrote a letter to express her gratitude to her old teacher.
That's beautiful. I think a handwritten letter or message can mean so much more than people realize.
Definitely. Okay, before we continue, if you're enjoying this episode and learning some useful English phrases, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. It really helps us keep making these conversations for you.
Yes, and if you have a moment, drop a comment below and tell us what's one thing you're grateful for today. We'd genuinely love to read your answers.
Now, let's talk about gratitude in relationships, because I think this is where it really matters the most. Thomas, do you think we say thank you enough to the people closest to us?
Honestly, probably not. It's strange, but sometimes we're more polite to strangers than to our own family or close friends.
That is so true. We say thank you to a cashier at the store, but we forget to thank our partner for something they do every single day.
Exactly. I think that's called taking someone for granted again, assuming they'll always be there so we stop noticing the effort they put in.
That's such an important reminder. Maybe today's challenge for our listeners could be this: thank someone close to you for something specific, not just a general thanks.
I love that idea. Instead of just saying thanks for everything, you could say thank you for always listening to me when I'm stressed. It feels more genuine.
Yes, being specific makes gratitude feel more real and meaningful. Okay, here's a quick vocabulary phrase for everyone listening. Appreciate. Thomas, can you explain the difference between appreciate and grateful?
Good question. Grateful usually describes a feeling. You feel grateful for something. Appreciate is more of an action. You appreciate something or someone, meaning you recognize its value.
That's a clear explanation. So we could say, I really appreciate your help, or I feel grateful for your help. Both work, but they're used slightly differently.
Exactly. All right, before we wrap up, let's do a quick review of the vocabulary and phrases we learned today.
Perfect, let's do it. First, we had take something for granted.
Then we had count your blessings.
Look on the bright side.
I had silver lining.
And finally, express gratitude and the difference between appreciate and grateful.
That's a lot of useful vocabulary for one episode. I hope everyone listening can try using at least one of these phrases today.
Definitely. Now, here's a fun little quiz for our listeners. Which phrase would you use in this situation? Even though the trip was canceled, I decided to focus on the positive part. I got a refund and used the money for something else.
That's a perfect example of look on the bright side or silver lining. Pause the video and try saying the full sentence using one of those phrases before we continue.
Great practice for our listeners. All right, Thomas, before we close today's episode, is there anything else you'd like to add about staying grateful every day?
Just one thing. Gratitude doesn't have to be complicated. It's really about noticing small good moments and appreciating them even on hard days.
That's such a great way to end our conversation today. So here's our question for you, our listeners. What is one thing, big or small, that you're grateful for today? Leave your answer in the comments below. We truly love reading them.
And if today's episode helped you learn something new, please give it a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and share it with a friend who might enjoy practicing English with us.
Thank you so much for spending this time with us today. We hope you leave this episode feeling a little more grateful and maybe even a little more inspired to notice the good things around you.
Until next time, take care of yourselves, keep practicing your English, and remember, even small moments deserve a little gratitude.